Hi, everyone. This is Mary Lurson.
And Ryan Lesperance.
I'm from Namm and the Namm Foundation, and Ryan's from the
John Lennon Educational Tour Bus.
If it's Thursday, it must be.
Oh, we are in Pittsburgh today.
We are in Pittsburgh at the Baldwin High School, and we are very excited to be here. We have a wonderful lineup of students, community leaders, teachers. It's going to be a great conversation on our fourth Support Music Community Forum. Where have you been lately?
We've been all over. We are actually just in Michigan and yesterday in Cleveland. So we've been kind of hightailing our way across, and then we're in Pittsburgh today and Philly tomorrow.
Great. You know, tomorrow in Pitts is our last community forum in Philadelphia, tomorrow with the Lennon bus, and along the way, the team has just been so great. So we have to try to get a shot with everybody on this side of the camera.
Some kind of group hug?
Not only you, but yeah, some kind of, we've really had a great experience. So what we're going to do now is turn over this kind of pre or webcast will start right at 9 o'clock Eastern. Please let everyone that you know that cares about music and arts education go to johnlennon.org.
Lennonbus.org.
Lennonbus.org/live. You can find the live stream, pass it around, tweet it for us. You know, get people who care, have it run in the background while you're doing other chores, maybe at home or in the office. But please get the word out that we'll start right at 9. But we've got a wonderful pre-show, kind of pre-webcast conversation. And Mark Despakakis, a Namm member for Progressive Music, is going to help us with this. So we're going to move out and turn... Thanks.
Of course. Thank
All
you.
right. And turn the mic over to Mark Despakakis.
Thank you, Mary.
Thank you.
Thank you. Good morning, everyone, and let me be the first, actually, I guess the second and third, to welcome you to Baldwin High School here in Pittsburgh. We are so excited to have the Lennon bus here and Namm here and to have the Support Music Community Forum here. As Mary alluded to, you're going to meet some of the great arts leaders from Western Pennsylvania and really from the entire state and get to talk to them and hear from them about some of the great things happening in our area. So the first person that I want to bring up here to talk is Angela Abadia, and Angela is the Senior Program Officer for Arts Education in the Pittsburgh Public Schools, and the biggest school district in our area, and it is great to have Angela here with us. Good morning.
Good morning. How are you?
Thank you for being here with us.
Thank you.
Now, so okay, you're in the administration level now, but you've been a high school band director. You've done it all, right?
Some of the best years of my life were when I was a high school band director in the city of Pittsburgh, at a school that is now closed but very legendary, named Shenley High School,
right,
which was in Oakland.
Well known around here,
Very
certainly
well
for
known.
the performing arts programs.
Andy Warhol.
Yeah,
Went
absolutely.
to that school. George Benson.
Absolutely. Well, so there's a lot of great history then, certainly in the Pittsburgh Public Schools for arts education. So tell us a little bit about your role now in the city of Pittsburgh.
So my role is I work as a leader of a 3-person arts team. I also have a phenomenal visual art coordinator and music coordinator on my team. And our role is to work with our upper administration, our phenomenal music and visual art and all arts educators in the city, in providing a top-notch arts education for all students in the city. And we work very closely with our colleagues, our other supervisors, to really see how we could integrate the arts into all other subject areas as well. And we still stay very close with our partners that support and help to enrich our programs in the community, as well as our parents and the community at large in all of our neighborhoods. And
really one of the great things is this great administrative support that you have. There's really some great administrators there who are really behind music and arts.
I think what's phenomenal about our upper administration, in this particular case, even speaking of our superintendent and our chief academic officer, is I think why their leadership is so intense, and they lead with such passion, because they never forgot about the arts. Both of them themselves were former artists and present artists. Our chief academic officer, Jerry Lippert, she still plays her trumpet. We talk all the time. I'm a fellow trumpet player, and she still plays to this day. She played in many community and orchestras when she was a student in Pittsburgh. And our superintendent, Dr. Lane, she even started off as being an arts major and has never lost that passion ever. Wonderful. She's very, very knowledgeable about the visual arts and different forms of art.
And I know we have some quotes from them that we'll share a little bit later in the panel. So it's fantastic that we have those here, and we're so glad to have you here and have you be part of the panel. Thank you for being here, Angela. We appreciate it.
All right.
All right. we have a special performance coming up for you later, and it's going to involve some students from here at Baldwin High School. So I'm going to bring in right now the band director here at Baldwin High School, Greg Steele. Greg, thanks for joining us.
Thanks for having us.
It's great to be here, and we're really looking forward. We saw the students outside getting ready. We're not going to tell you exactly what we're going to see just yet. We're going to be a little bit of a surprise, but
a little bit of drama.
Yeah, exactly. Okay, but tell us about the music programs here at Baldwin High School and in the school district.
Sure. We are blessed here in Baldwin Whitehall to have what I think is one of the most superb music programs in the area. We have a ton of different opportunities for kids to get involved in music. My end of things, I'm the director of instrumental music. I direct our marching band, our 2 concert groups, our string orchestra, our jazz band. I also teach a guitar class. Chris Tranter, my colleague, directs the choir, and we have actually 2 levels of piano. So I feel like we have a really comprehensive program that can appeal to, your more traditional music student who might want to be involved in band or orchestra or choir, and also, maybe a less traditional music student or a kid who's never done music prior to getting to high school who can get involved in guitar and piano. We have great extracurricular things going on here. We have our musicals won 2 consecutive Gene Kelly Awards, the local awards here in Pittsburgh for Best Musical. Our marching band is a multi-time chapter champion. Under my predecessor, Gary McKeever, they marched in the Macy's Parade. So we have a lot of cool opportunities for our kids to study music and have meaningful, unique experiences.
And let's get a quick plug for the marching band for anybody who's in the Pittsburgh area.
Absolutely.
A show this weekend.
This Saturday, we'll be hosting a Tournament of Bands competition here at Baldwin. It'll start at 7 o'clock. Right here at the high school. And
Duquesne University, University of Pittsburgh performing too.
Duquesne
so it's going to be great.
And University of Pittsburgh.
Great,
yes.
Thanks. And we're going to bring some students in now from the various music programs here at Baldwin. Come on in, guys. Come on over a little bit so we get you all in. All right, so let me start by, let's have you guys introduce yourself and what performing groups you're involved in.
I'm Lindsay Rodarmel. I'm involved in the musical, the Highlander Choir, the Baldwin Airs, and I've done piano and guitar class.
I'm Kaylee George. I'm involved in the marching band, the wind ensemble, Highlander Choir, Baldwin Airs, and the musical.
I'm Molly Whitaker. I'm involved in the string orchestra, the pit orchestra, and a couple out-of-school activities as well.
Okay, great. So we have kind of everything represented here. So let's just talk briefly. Kind of give me, it's kind of maybe a tough question to answer, but so what's the draw to music for you? Why are you all involved in so many different programs here, and what draws you to be involved as much as you are?
I think I'm involved in music so much is I grew up around music with my whole family loves music, and I've always been singing or dancing or something along that nature. So the music program here is amazing. I mean, you can do literally anything. So I've literally just tried to get involved as much as I can, especially because I want to do this with my future.
Great.
Well, for me, the staff we have is really incredible. They really inspire me to do better, not only in music, but in my academics as well and other aspects of my life. And I really think that music teaches us to strive for excellence. So that's kind of why I call this my home.
Yeah. Music's been a really strong influence on my life. I mean, it's gotten me through some tough times and, the good times too. And I just, I strive to use it in every aspect of my life. So I try to get as involved as I can.
I think that says it all, what you guys, you've all really summed it up in different ways, and it's why so many people really, are pushing to keep music in the schools. So the best of luck to all of you, and thank you guys for being here.
Thank you.
All right, thank you. All right, coming up next here, we have Laura Abbott. She is the manager of policy projects at EPLC, the Education Policy and Leadership Center. Correct? Okay.
Thank you, Mark.
One of our co-hosts for the forum here today is EPLC. Mm-hmm. Tell us about EPLC, what EPLC is.
Okay, EPLC is the Education Policy and Leadership Center. We are a nonprofit, nonpartisan organization based in Harrisburg, but we do statewide work, and the main goal is to influence effective the development of education policy in particular. But EPLC has been around since 1999, but our work didn't always focus on the arts. It was about a couple years ago, long story short, there was budget increases, but we realized we were missing out on a lot of programs such as the arts and foreign languages and all these other very important things. And we started to frame the conversation around an educated citizenry. And so we convened a lot of people, arts people and school people, and we ultimately issued a report. March 2012, this arts policy report, we did an inventory of policy in Pennsylvania, and we came up with a series of recommendations that kind of targeted many different stakeholders. And one of the recommendations was that there be formed a statewide coalition of all these arts organizations, because we are all doing our own thing, but we're not all working together, and we're all not focusing on policy. So that out of that, we just formed the new Pennsylvania Arts Education Network. Progressive Music and Mark is on the steering committee, as are some other people that you will hear from later in the program. And our goal is to just be a convener and a coordinator of all these great things going on, and also connect the dots. So sometimes we're siloed, right? You know, the music and the visual arts, the dance, the theater, superintendents, we're not all talking to each other. So this kind of connects it in that way.
It's great to have everybody in that same room
Yes.
and having that conversation for sure. Okay, briefly, kind of the interesting story of how you came to be involved in the policy side is you're a
Yes.
visual arts ed major.
Correct.
And you end up on the policy side. And so you've kind of, understand the importance of paying attention to policy as an educator.
Yeah, so actually I came into this policy picture by just attending this forum of the release of the report I mentioned. And I was fresh out of college with an art education degree, and I'm also a practicing painter. But policy was never on my radar, and I was about to graduate, and it just astounded me. The whole reason I was in school was policy. The fact I have to be certified to teach is policy, and standards, all of this. So I really became involved, and I think, especially as teachers, they're the experts, and we'll hear from some teachers now. They need to know that as policy advocates, we're not trying to know the best practices. It's their job to inform us with data and stories and experiences.
Great. It's a unique perspective, and one that we certainly appreciate, and we thank EPLC and for creating the network.
Thank you.
Laura,
Appreciate it,
thanks
Mark.
for joining us. Speaking of experts, we're going to bring one of those experts up here as far as in the classroom goes. Megan Krause, general music teacher here in the Baldwin Whitehall School District at Whitehall Elementary.
That's correct.
Megan, thank you for being here with us today.
Oh, no, thank you.
How long have you been in the district?
This is my 15th year in the district.
And like I said, you've always taught general music?
I've always taught general music. We have 3 elementary schools here in the district, and I currently teach at 2, but I've taught at all 3 during my tenure here.
And general music, some people have varied opinions about it, but really it's vital to laying this foundation for everything that's going to happen in the music program.
That's what we believe in our elementary program, that we are providing a foundation for all these wonderful opportunities that our students have as they go through our program and get older. It's not just about playing games and singing songs and having a fun time. It's a big responsibility to create that appreciation for music and the love of music, but also to create a culture of musical learning. The students are reading and they're writing and they compose when they learn about composers. And we feel that that's important, not only for their future, but for the future of our music programs. We want to provide a wonderful base for the teachers up here and our musicals up here, and it's wonderful to see what our kids do 10 years down the line. They look different, but we hope that we helped.
And one of the great things that you do too is, you take these kids out to perform. You're out in the community with them, and that's really important for the students, but also it's really important for the community.
We think so. We like to carol at Christmas time and find our way downtown. We are here in the Baldwin Whitehall School District, where we have immense support from families and staff and administration. But I also like for the kids to know that we're bigger than our own bubble.
Sure.
There are other places where good things are happening with music, and we also want to share what we have. We have some wonderful students here in our district.
Absolutely. So. Well, Megan, keep up the great work.
Thank
You're going to be
you.
joining us on the panel a little bit later.
Thank you,
Thank
Mark.
you very much. Coming up next, we have Jamie Casper from the Arts Education Collaborative, and we'll let her explain what that is in a second. And Jamie's a flute player and was just down there sharing some stories about those crazy flute players in college, right?
Yes, yes, I was. Yes.
So tell us what the Arts Education Collaborative is.
So the Arts Education Collaborative is a nonprofit. We're in downtown Pittsburgh, and we don't do direct services to students. Instead, we focus on the people who work with students. So we work to educate and support teachers, administrators, staff of arts and cultural organizations, and individual artists as they do their work with students.
Okay. So let's talk about maybe what specifically music educators can get from learning about some of the services and things that you guys offer.
So one of the things that I remember from my days as a teacher, I was an elementary general music teacher, shout out to all those people. One of the things that I remember is that I never had time to read research and really think deeply about my practice, because I was teaching all day, and then I would go home and I would write lesson plans and I would prep for the next day. I would eat and sleep, the things that I needed to stay alive, and then I would go to work and do it all again. And so one of the things that I think the AEC does that is useful to the field is that we can read that research, break it down into more manageable pieces, and also just help educators stay current. So there really aren't a whole lot of people out there, you know, taking what's going on in the field and saying, here's what's really important for you.
Right. And I've said several times, you know, and it applies to AEC too, what EPLC and AEC does is exactly what you're talking about. They take all of this that's out there as far as research and policy, and they put it in this manageable way. And that's really vital, and I think more teachers really need to be tuned into that.
Absolutely. And it's a time issue. You know, teachers are so busy being great and doing the things that they do, they just need a little extra help.
Right. And you guys offer professional development days. I know there's one coming up in a couple of weeks, and a lot of other programs. So if you're in Western Pennsylvania, a great group to check out, potentially in person to be involved with, but then you got a lot of stuff on your website that is certainly valuable.
Absolutely. artsedcollaborative.org.
Great,
That's it,
great.
yes.
Well, Jamie, thank you for being here, and Sarah from AEC is going to be on the panel here.
Great.
So
Thanks,
thank
Mark.
you. We appreciate it. All right, and so our last guest that we're going to bring up here is someone that you've already seen, and we're turning the tables on her because she's usually the interviewer, and we're gonna have her be the interviewee today.
You did such a good job.
Mary Lurson from Namm.
You can have this job.
Okay. It's great to have you here in Pittsburgh. We're so happy and to be doing these community forums. It's just fantastic.
We've had a great experience on the road, and I can't thank you enough for taking the lead here in Pittsburgh. I mean, we've been the kind of the ground team from remote in all these communities, and you stepped right into the opportunity. So we thank you and Progressive Music for really doing a great job.
We're happy to do it, and I think when we hear from some of these people later, you're going to see what great things we have in Western Pennsylvania.
And bringing all these, you know, the partners and hearing the work of all the people that are working on various levels here. It's, you know, it takes everybody in the piece that they can contribute. Sure. And, you know, the ultimate thing, I was sitting kind of studying my notes, and those kids start to speak, and I just stop and listen.
Right.
You know, that's all about what this is that we're working for. So.
The music products industry is really taking a big role in advocating for music education. Obviously, what your role is, I mean, coming from Namm, the Association of the Music Products Industry, and SupportMusic, and just so many things that our industry does. What's the role of the industry? I mean, that's kind of odd because maybe in other educational pursuits or advocacy places, the business side isn't necessarily as involved as we are.
Well, I think this is the kind of the wisdom of the collaborative. That's all the Namm members. You being a Namm member, you knowing your suppliers, manufacturers, distributors, publishers, people who are creating instruments. I think after 113 years, you know, it's a long and old organization, started a long time ago. I think that they evolved to really articulate clearly that the vision of all of this work is to make sure that every child has the opportunity to learn music, and then to really, really implement that, and really, we would say to really own that. Through a series of programs and partnerships, and the SupportMusic Coalition is supported by Namm, and is, you know, we get to manage it with our partners and friends, and the National Association for Music Education is very important to this effort. So it's you know, it comes from the belief in the industry that you have to have experiences with music early in life. You have to have high quality teachers, a high quality experience, that it's sequential, it's standards based, it's discipline, skill based. And everybody sort of looking in that direction has allowed us to go out and do this work from the ground up. So we're really, really grateful.
Fantastic.
Yeah.
Well, again, thank you for being here, and we look forward to what's going to happen on the panel here in just a few minutes. But we have a pretty big thing happening here.
I think we're going to go to Greg Steele, the band director over there. 5, 4, 3, 2. You won't believe what's coming from the sidelines. We'll see you when the webcast starts right at 9, but stay tuned. What's coming next?
Welcome, everyone, and welcome to our Support Music Community Forum here in Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania at the Baldwin High School. That was just amazing. We thank Greg Steele. Panelists, please come up and join us while we get started. We thank Greg Steele so much, our band director. And, you know, it's another reminder why this is so important. Those, just to stand next to that drum line, you just stand taller. You just stand taller with those remarkable children. Young people, they're well beyond children. But I'm Mary Lurson, Director of Public Affairs and Government Relations for Namm, Executive Director of the Namm Foundation, and it's our great privilege to be at Pittsburgh and Baldwin High today for the 4th of our Support Music Community Forums around the country. And we're so grateful for the gracious people here at Baldwin High and for hosting us. And their new auditorium, got a tour of the new band room earlier. This is truly a community that is walking the talk for support for music education. But we know that it is a constant dialogue and a constant advocacy activity that really makes this type of experience happen for these students. And we're really grateful that we could come here and have this conversation with you all. The Support Music Coalition is a national effort that seeks to unite communities around the country around the purpose and values and benefits of music education. And we hope to support communities in their work at home to keep music education strong. We are a program of the Namm Foundation, and Namm is a 113-year-old music products trade association, and it's our great Namm members who are supporting and helping to advance this effort to assure that music education is part of a complete education for every child. So I'm grateful to all the Namm members that are either participating us via the web, are involved with our Support Music Coalition on some level. We hope all of our Namm members will be involved on as many levels and activities that's of benefit to them and their communities. But together, we are working to keep music education strong. I have the great privilege of having some of these great band members come and join me. And I'm going to grab a mic. Please come right up on stage. These remarkable young people that were, congratulations. How many performances this year?
We have 3 this year.
You've had 3 big performances, plus you probably perform at the band concert, at the football games,
yes,
and all of that, right? So what I'd like to do is why don't you move in a little bit? Let's make a little circle here. Tell me your name, your grade, your instrument you play.
I'm Jonathan Wicks, and I'm in 12th grade, and I currently play the quints.
The quints?
Yes. 4 drums and 1 pop drum in the middle.
Okay, thank you. I'm not so percussion literate as I need to be. Wonderful. How about you?
I'm Harrison Solonday. I'm in the front ensemble, and I'm in 10th grade.
In 10th grade. And you would say you're in the front ensemble?
Yeah.
That's the battery that was way in the back today, right? What's in the front ensemble?
Marimbas and xylophones, bass drums, chimes we have back there. We have a piano back there, and cymbals, a lot of crash cymbals. We're cymbal line also.
Marching band has changed a lot since when I did it, that's for sure. And how about you?
I'm Kate Marzi. I play the baritone.
Yeah, and you brought your baritone.
Yeah,
that's great.
I'm in 12th grade.
You're in 12th grade, great. How about you?
I'm Marissa Einen. I'm in 12th grade. I play baritone and clarinet.
All right, so you're a dual instrumentalist. So how long have you, maybe just kind of give me a head nod, have you been involved with music since elementary grades? Did you all start early? What has it been a part of your educational experience? Why has it been so important? And what's it meant to you, I guess is what I mean to say.
Music to me has had a great influence on my life. It's really gotten me a lot of places, taught me a lot of discipline, and also it's showed me a lot of things that I've never seen before. It helped me a lot with personal things like meeting a lot of people, getting to know a great band directors, learning new skills and work etiquette within the band.
I'm so glad you mentioned the power and importance of your band director. It's all about great teachers, right? How about you?
Music to me helped me and taught us life lessons. We learn life lessons every day in band. We learn teamwork and integrity, and it gives us a sense of belonging with each other, and we make new friends.
Yeah.
And it's a great sense of teamwork and belonging.
So many of the young people that I've had the privilege to chat with in these forums, they keep talking about their community, the friends, the people that they've been sometimes since 4th grade, right, when you started an instrument. And then as you go up through this sometimes challenging years, right, that support network, the band room family, right, becomes part of it. How about you?
Like you said, we start in 4th grade, and it shapes who you are, because you get to find out, you get to make friends in that class, and you get to kind of get away from all the work from school and put work into something that is more personally meaningful.
But sometimes it's as hard.
Yeah, definitely.
I mean, calculus and 5-level music is just about the same, right?
It's a different kind of challenging. It's challenging where you very much enjoy it and it's worth it.
Yeah, that's wonderful. How about you?
Music's had a huge impact on my life. It's actually shaped my future. I'm going into music therapy.
Wonderful.
And it's just really taught me to be a hard worker and persevere no matter what, even if you're playing really hard music or anything challenges.
When we hear directly from you, who are the reason that we are doing what we do, we can't deny its importance. I mean, you really give us, we can have a lot of research, we can have a lot of people that tell us the statistics, but when we hear from you, it makes all the difference. So 12th grade, 12th grade, 11th grade?
10th grade.
10th grade, 12th grade.
Yes.
Quick, last question, what's your future? Got to get into college, right?
Yes, I plan on going to Drexel University. I want to go for computer science, and I want to try to minor in music.
So you're going to keep playing?
Yes.
Some way. Great. You're early yet, but it's okay.
I'm thinking about either photography, photojournalism, or lighting design, and I would be involved with the marketing.
So stay in the arts.
Yeah.
Stay in the arts and be involved. Great.
I'm planning on attending a 4-year college and going for psychiatry.
Psychiatry, great.
I'm looking forward to wherever marching band will take me.
And then all the things you know about the role of community and the music, and it'll be part of what you carry forward to serve other people. That's great. And music therapy, which is very exciting.
I'm planning on attending either Duquesne University or Ohio, and I will be doing majoring in music therapy.
That's great. And we know music therapy is being acknowledged more and more as a legitimate occupational therapy and helping so many people. Well, you're the reason that we are really on the road, having these conversations with people who sometimes can pull the levers of financing for schools and leadership in state government and community. And we hope that wherever you go, that you are involved in music. And no matter what, I play ukulele now. So, and I have a pink trombone. So it's all important. So give our great young people a hand. I do stand taller when I stand next to a band member. Thank you. Thank you so much. I'll let you go. It's now my honor to introduce to you the principal of this wonderful school and to have him bring formal greetings from the community to all of us, all of you participating on the webcast, and for the hosting of us here at Baldwin High School. Walter Graves, principal of this wonderful school. Thank you so much for being here.
Number one, the students. The students have been fantastic. In my short stay here, they'll come up to me in the hallway and they will shake my hand and welcome me to the school. And it's just been a very warm welcome and a very nice transition. But I'm very pleased to have the Lennon bus here to promote the arts and to show our students some opportunities in careers that they may not otherwise have had a chance to know. To have this exposure and have the chance to see different career options is certainly part of our quest at the high school level to help our students find what they like and what they don't like. And so to have the Lennon bus here and give our students a chance to learn a little bit about these careers is certainly a wonderful chance for them to see something that they may not have. I have been involved in music for most of my life. Was involved in the band in high school and realized how important that was for me to be a part of something in high school. And then as I've gone through my career, I've relied on my music background for various chances. I've been a member of the hospice, gone in to help some patients who are nearing the end of their life and help them transition. Also have been involved in our church through music, so I know the importance of it and promote it very highly. So any parts of the arts that our students can get exposure to through this experience and others is certainly a good one. So I'm very pleased to welcome the Lennon bus to Baldwin High School and very happy to be here as well. So thank you very much. Thank you.
Thanks very much. It's always great when there's a school administrator that says that his life is also filled with music. We know it makes all the difference. So again, the reason that we've been on the road, and we again are so grateful for the John Legend Educational Tour Bus that has been on the road, and we sat down with them and said, we'd like to tag on the morning. And we'd like to have a gathering that would start with about an 8:30 pre-show and then a webcast that starts right at 9. And to engage the leaders in that community in a conversation that we would share via the web, and we tape them and they'll be available and they're shared after, to look at some key issues and some key policy concerns that we all really need to be maybe better aware of. That we need to be, sometimes these things are done in government meetings, or they're done in state legislatures, or they're part of school budget deliberations, and they kind of feel removed from our process or our belief in music education. And part of what we do in the coalition is bring those conversations into people that are in community, and we share them from community to community to community. So along the way, we find that people get some education about the process of how decisions are made. They make connections to coalitions, or they maybe even form a coalition or a local organization that is trying to bring resources together to make sure that music and arts education are available for all children. And overall, we're kind of coming into a community where we've been, I'm having a little bit of a mic issue, I'm sorry, where we are trying to expand this community of people that are supporting music education. So here we are with our panel at the Baldwin High School, and we thank you all for being a part of us and being part of this important event. You know that the format for our panel is round robin. I pose a question. It's kind of up to you to jump in, and if you're not jumping in, I will call on you, because I was a teacher way back. And we really want to sort of hear from your perspective, remembering that you're helping other people solve some problems. You're helping other people possibly form leadership organizations or strengthen their organizations. And we're really grateful for the time and expertise that you've lent to this effort today. So the first question to our panel is, what have been some of the challenges and how have you overcome them in assuring that music education is part of the core curriculum in schools, district, or community? So we move from, it's designated as a core academic subject, but what do we do to assure that it is really considered a core academic subject? So what are the challenges, and what are some of the things your organization is doing? And when you say your name, tell a little bit about your organization to get started. Who would start? The band director? Congratulations. What a band.
Thank you so much. We're really blessed with awesome students and a fantastic situation here. My name is Greg Steele. I'm the Director of Instrumental Music here at Baldwin High School. I'm fortunate to direct the fine group of kids you saw earlier, our marching band, as well as two other bands here at the high school, our stage band, our string orchestra. Here at Baldwin, we're blessed with a lot of things. We have a great curriculum in place. We have great teachers. We have great groups of students. We have administrators who are supportive of music, and we have a tremendous parent group. With all of that said, I don't think anyone who's involved in the arts could be anything but at least passingly concerned with just the way the focus of education has shifted. I think that the focus on the core curriculum is certainly well-meaning, but I think it's a little bit skewed from a perspective that hasn't experienced the arts. I know I view my role as the chief thing that I can do being giving our kids meaningful experiences in the arts that'll last with them throughout their lives. And I think that as music educators, that's really the best way we can advocate for ourselves. I think anybody who's had a truly deep, meaningful experience with music would understand why that's so important to be a part of kids' lives. So I know from my perspective, while forming an advocacy group is important, that's something we're just beginning to do. My perspective is to try and give our kids in our community the most vibrant, meaningful experiences they can have in the arts.
In the land of professional advocacy, which is kind of the effort that we seek to lead, there's a really important statement that we say over and over: the best advocate is a great program. You have to, the fact that there is a quality program here, and I have to commend you too on having a program that is broader than a traditional program, with the classroom guitar and the technology and the piano labs. When did that start here at Baldwin, and how is that serving the students?
I know our guitar, I was on board with the ground level of guitar. This is our third year of guitar. The piano program was actually started by my colleague Chris Tranter a number of years ago. I would imagine it's 10 or 12 years ago since we've had.
It serves a broader spectrum of students, right?
Absolutely. Those classes are always, I've had the opportunity to teach a piano course and guitar for the last 3 years now. And those classes are really unique and enjoyable for me in that there's just such a broad range of different types of students who choose to take those classes. From some of my band and orchestra students to, a student who probably can't possibly envision themselves being in band but really connects with playing the guitar. Or, we have students in our classes who love country music and love heavy metal, and it's always really interesting to see all those diverse people and worldviews and things come together in one environment where they're all kind of united, enjoying music.
I think that's so important. It's sort of the evolution, and some would say a revolution in music education. If the benefits are so rich and wonderful, then we need high quality programs, but we need a lot more diversity so a lot more kids participate. How about anyone else jumping in on the challenges, opportunities? Margaret, tell us about PMEA.
I'm Margaret Bauer. I'm the Executive Director of the Pennsylvania Music Educators Association. I represent about 3,500 music teachers across the state at all levels, from preschool up through high school. And the biggest challenge facing us right now, I think, is some of the state budget cuts and what has happened to music programs as a result of that in areas where they haven't been supported. When music teachers are retiring, and teachers are retiring at a high rate right now, the baby boomer generation is moving on, they're not being replaced, and that's a real concern for us. So our role in all of this is to get out the message, get out the word, spread the positive benefits of music education. And to that end, we cooperate with and collaborate with several different organizations in the state. We exhibit every year at the Pennsylvania School Boards Association Conference, and the Pennsylvania School Administrators are jointly in a conference with them, so we get that opportunity to talk to school board members and administrators, which is really key for us. We have an advocacy day in the spring. This year it will be on March 26th. It's during Music in Our Schools Month. And there are several other. We work with the Pennsylvania School Business Officials Association to provide student groups for their conferences. And our latest collaboration is with EPLC and the Pennsylvania Arts and Education Network. So we see our role as continuing that. I think Mary might have said it in one of the webcasts that I viewed. The message has to be relentlessly positive. And I think that's what we want to do, is make sure that our message is positive, the positive benefits of music education and the positive lifelong benefits of music education.
And I have to credit our steering committee member, Scott Schofield, we have a steering committee in the coalition, who said that on our planning call this fall, is that we must be relentlessly positive. And even with all these benefits and all this joy, if we're not sort of in there, I think what you're describing is really sort of in there constantly reminding and pushing with this positive. And you talk about the school board and the school administrators. Has that been helpful? If you see an arc of that's been helpful to have those relationships on the state level?
Yes, I think it has. A lot of superintendents in particular will come up to us and say, well, why should I replace that music teacher? You know, we can have this other teacher take on, you know, the job of two individuals. And it's very easy to point out that then they're weakening their program because they're taking opportunities away from students who are not going to have the same, you know, maybe the same number of classes in a week, maybe the same number of exposures to music education.
Right.
And they've taken that back, and we've seen some positive results across the state.
Right.
It doesn't always work, of course, but you form relationships. And the school board members, it's kind of a fun conference to do because school board members come running right up to us.
Right.
We support the arts, we support music education in our schools, and you know, it's a great, some of them are parents that are involved, and it's an opportunity.
And at the Namm Foundation, we actually exhibit at the national conference for the school boards, and we have the same experience. You know, in advocacy, you have to reward the champions. You have to reward the people who are saying they support you, and you have to knit them together and give them a lot of support, and then bring those who aren't quite sure on over to that team. Ron, please tell us about your important organization.
Sure. Ron Cowell with the Education Policy and Leadership Center. We do state-level education policy, but one of the things we've done the last 3 years or so is to focus on arts education, and over the last year have convened and staffed a coalition called the Pennsylvania Arts Education Network. It's an unprecedented coalition here in Pennsylvania. Pennsylvania Music Educators Association is an important part of that and providing great leadership there. But it is an effort to try to get the arts community and the arts advocacy community on a similar page around some common policy asks as well as some common messaging for policymakers and other audiences. And one thing I would emphasize, we saw some great performances here today, and you had some great interviews with the students here at Baldwin High School. None of this happens automatically, and none of it is inevitable, one way or the other, either the enhancement of an opportunity or the elimination of an opportunity. This is a result of decisions that get made by policymakers, often driven by state policy, our State Board of Education or our state legislators, or by our elected school boards. But these are decisions that are made. And so this whole question of advocacy is something that with the coalition statewide we're emphasizing, and it can't emphasize it enough as one of the messages for today's panel. And there's a role for everybody. This is not a matter of sitting around hoping that bad things don't happen to us. It's not a matter of sitting around hoping that somebody else takes care of this. It's what you can do and I can do as a parent or a grandparent or a teacher or a school board member or a community leader or a business person. This is important stuff, but it doesn't happen automatically. So there is nobody who is as powerful in terms of delivering a message as the students themselves. We need to get smarter about utilizing student voices as advocates for music education and all arts education. But to teachers, I would also emphasize that in this environment where you're often feeling besieged by new rules and regulations and work requirements and professional development requirements and whatever, you can't ignore the advocacy. There is nobody who can do it better than you for the enterprise, for the teacher profession, the music educator profession, and ultimately for the students that you serve. And if you don't do it, there'll be a huge vacuum there, and we can't allow that to happen.
Well, now I have 3 more questions. Thank you. So you're leading a statewide education policy leadership kind of think tank, advocacy tank, right? So why did the arts have a natural place in that conversation? Why did you sort of bring the arts into your organization or as a project?
Well, in the interview with Laura Abbott in the pre-program conversation, Laura emphasized that about 3 years ago, while we were focused on school funding and some successes at that moment, we also recognized we're going backwards on a bunch of issues, including state support for the arts and for museums and for a lot of things that contribute to an educated citizenry. And we tried to begin some conversation that emphasizes the role of the arts and arts education in this quest for an educated citizenry here in Pennsylvania. And so we had a project, we developed a report. Again, Pennsylvania Music Educators Association and many other arts organizations were a vital part of that process. But we didn't want this to be just a report that sits on a shelf. So one of the key recommendations was to bring folks together as a coalition, unprecedented in Pennsylvania again, and some people tell us it's unusual in the country, but a statewide coalition of organizations that wouldn't give up their own identity, but would share some interests, share some policy priorities, share some messaging. We promised that this network was going to add value to the work of every one of the partner organizations. And we're only a year old now with this, but I think we're coming a long way. We've raised the profile with the help of Citizens for the Arts in Pennsylvania. There is a new Legislative Arts and Culture Caucus. At our third symposium that's coming up on October 30th, we're going to give, for the first time, awards to a school board and to a state policymaker for their leadership. So we're breaking new ground around a lot of this advocacy effort. But the most important thing is ultimately folks working together. There is nothing so powerful as coalitions at the state level and in our local communities.
Right, you've got to be at the table. Right, and
Yes.
either you're best when you're at the table, linked in arms with other people that share a vision and a mission.
That working together, sometimes it looks like more work, and it is, but ultimately, if it's done well, it adds value to the work of every one of the participating organizations.
So we would like to stay close to the state level effort, and that maybe share even separately a conversation with the state level effort, so we can help other states maybe move closer to that. Because again, there's some templating here that we'd like to do. Thank you so much.
Sarah Tambucci, I'm the director of the Arts Education Collaborative, which is, Jamie was in the pre-discussion from our organization. We work to support high-quality arts education in Western Pennsylvania. And I was very happy to hear some of our presenters previously talk about high-quality arts education. It isn't just more about more arts in the schools. It's more about what are those educators doing that brings our craft to a higher level. I think one of the challenges that I've been very aware of is that unfortunately we have very good music teachers who are very good at what they do, and they get to do more and add more programs and do more of what they do. The downside on that is very often they don't have the time, nor do they have necessarily the skills to assume a leadership role as those advocates that Ron's talking about. Our organization has implemented a leadership academy for arts educators, and for 11 years now, we've been working with art, music, dance, and theater teachers to help them not only understand the current educational environment, but to begin to develop the leadership skills that will help them to work not only with the community, because we have a very rich arts and culture community here in Pittsburgh, but to also work with their school boards and their principals and their superintendents at the local level, so that they can become almost indispensable in terms of sitting on district-wide and building-wide committees and planning organizations, so that their efforts are enhancing what actually goes on in general education, and they're more valued as arts educators.
So it's really the time of an arts educator, asking them to say, in order for you to have the space and resources and all the things you need to be successful, we need to carve a little bit out so you can go over and participate with the other stakeholders and leaders. Yeah. So they can understand better the value that you are truly bringing.
Don't be afraid to step forward when someone asks you to make a presentation to a school board. Don't be afraid to step forward when you're asked to serve on a strategic planning committee or on a building-wide committee to achieve general education objectives. That's where the arts educators shine.
You carry the mission of your work forward into those conversations.
And now you're in the middle of the policy arena, not only advocating, but educating.
And I think a lot of the music teachers that I've come to know that are in our network are making some important strides in that way. I think there was a time when they say, no, I just want to shut the door and teach. This is what I'm trained to do. But realizing that they have so much to give, and they have a lot of skills to give. over into those conversations as well.
I think they are. One of the most beautiful things we're seeing is as each of these classes of Leadership Academy graduate, quote unquote, they become a network themselves. Both you and Ron made reference to how important those networks are. They can actually go in and connect with other people who have similar issues, similar concerns, and ultimately be stronger together across school districts.
Well, I'd love to learn more about your leadership training. I mean, I'm picking up things, my notes to myself. How about share with us your...
My name is Megan Krause. I teach elementary general music here in the Baldwin High School District, so I'm on staff with Greg Steele, our band director here at the high school. Some challenges for us as elementary general music teachers. I think one of the things we not necessarily a challenge in our own district because we have a lot of support here in our district. It's not a fluff subject. The kids are learning. They can read, they can write, they can tell you about a composer. I had a kindergarten mom last week come in and say, my child came home and told me about Haydn. I was so surprised. And it was just that brief moment. So here in our school district, we are at the beginning stages of trying to create a coalition, an advocacy group. And I think Greg hit the nail on the head saying that vibrant musical experience for all children and for the community. We are our own best advocates, as you both alluded to, have said, and we also need to take that preemptive strike to make it a musical culture here, so that when those decisions come to the school board and come to the table, we're here. This is something that's inherent in our culture here in the Baldwin White Hall School District, and I think we're very fortunate in that we are really a connected staff, that we support one another. But those challenges won't go away with making sure that all children, especially here in the elementary, have the opportunity for music, because that's where that love is fostered. And I think we saw that with the students who were interviewed today. Kate, our baritone player, said it began in 4th grade. It did, but it really began in kindergarten too. Music is so important. And they talked about how it taught them integrity and discipline. And those things too need to be made aware, not only to our school board and administration, but also to the community. We're preparing students for the future, whether their future lies in music, which of course we hope, or the arts, which of course we hope, but computer engineering and the graphic arts design. And if you want to become a video game programmer, you need that creativity, you need the discipline that comes from that musical training. I truly believe that. And a challenge for us here is to promote those ideals out into the community, that it is not just a fun break in the day, but that it is an opportunity to provide your child with a musical experience as well as teaching and discipline and integrity and hard work ethic. And so surprising when they come home and tell you about things you didn't know about music. That's important, but we play a much larger role in the overall education of a child. And I think
there's a couple of things that are really key. They talked about a music or an arts department in a district really having to do the work among themselves to sort of, really be a representative unit. In terms of even sort of, caucusing among themselves to make sure that they're in alignment for what they're asking for or what they're requiring, and that there's kind of a respectfulness.
Absolutely.
And I also think that we talk about a great program as the best advocate. I think there's an opportunity for the arts education teachers to spend a little bit more time actually demonstrating what they're doing.
Oh, I absolutely.
And the kind of scaffolding lesson plans for the school board. Come into my kindergarten class and let me show you what's actually going on.
Absolutely.
Angela, you're right at the apex of this, being the coordinator for the district.
Right.
You probably can look backwards and see some challenges. Love to hear both that and where you are now with some opportunities.
Sure. So I think in the Pittsburgh Public Schools, probably some of our biggest challenges is people even not understanding or even misunderstanding how our district and our district leaders actually do value the arts. There's so much focus on testing and test scores that, and things going on in the city and in the media that sometimes the good that happens is often overlooked. We have a school board, many members totally value the arts and serve on arts panels and art organizations, and will fight for our students and their needs. Our upper administration, like you heard me mention before, our superintendent, our leader of the entire city, is a former art major and an art lover herself. And the chief academic officer is a former musician herself too, and they have said to me, you know, they've made the statement, as long as we are in this position, you know, you will not have to worry about the arts going anywhere. And I believe my leaders, and I'm holding them to their word because I believe what they say. But I know that their actions speak louder than words. And in this particular case, by even creating this position that exists now, senior program officer, it allows me to be at the table, like you said, because, you know, if your voice isn't heard, you don't feel valued. To be at the table with my other supervisors and our other subject areas, to be at the table when there's a cabinet meeting, to speak on behalf of the teachers and to speak on the behalf of my other team members who also work with our teachers about the good that is going on in our classroom, the higher level learning that's going on in our classroom. And also to be a voice with our partners in the cultural district that work with us, to say what our needs are, and to collaborate to enrich our students' lives. It's a challenge, and it's like a wonderful task to undertake, to find those perfect matches with our school and with our students' needs, as well as be the voice on behalf of the district to work with our parents, who the parents and the students, like you said, are the most prominent voices to make change. So there are challenges, but there are so many good opportunities and things happening in the city that I think people do not realize. Our city truly believes, all of our schools in our city, for people that may not realize, have both music and visual art. They believe in the arts in our city, and I'm proud to say that I work and I lead in a city that believes in the arts so much.
So that's a great opportunity to just say, all right, for a 9 or 10 month period, you're going to make sure that every week some type of leader is profiled around their commitment. I mean, you know, we're going to get to what really defines the preemptive, proactive advocacy. But I see that, you know, I see if you had every school board member conduct your beginning band in front of parents at least once a year, that you would probably change everything for a long, long time. That's that connection.
We have to be the biggest advocates. You know, we have all city events. We put what we do, the beautiful work of what we do in our classrooms, for the public to see and to experience. It's huge. Our teachers do a phenomenal job.
And it does take a lot of work. It takes a lot of organization. It takes a lot of communication. I mean, let's face it, these things take a big commitment, and you just got to get them done. So, you know, we know, but it's like threading all those things together is the opportunity of advocacy.
And when I'm at the table and you use the term core, I'm always saying, please don't forget we are a core subject. Yeah. So if there are any misunderstandings, to state that point. Let's not forget we are.
Let's remember we achieved that designation in the No Child Left Behind law in 2000, that the arts are a core academic subject, and it has been the hat that we've hung our hat on for a long time. Mark, you sit in a very interesting cross-section. You've been a certified music teacher, a band director. You're now working at Progressive Music, really as the chief, the chief manager there, running that business. How does this, and you're very active in the coalition, how does this all weave together from your perspective?
Well, I want to pick up on kind of bringing together what a lot of people said here, and everyone's talking about how we need to advocate in certain ways for our program, and everyone's kind of given some great examples of it. And one of the things that I see in my role now is I go into a lot of schools and I go to a lot of concerts and I go into a lot of music classrooms, and I see what's happening there, and I see these great jobs that teachers all over this area are doing in school with students. But as was said by somebody earlier, just like this marching band coming out here this morning, that didn't just happen. Greg didn't just have them show up this morning and they knew what to do. There's a lot of rehearsal that went into making that happening. That goes back to what Megan did how many years ago in general music. And okay, so music is listed, yes, as a core subject, but I don't think that that part of it is understood as much, this training that goes into it. And you make this great point of conduct the band for the parents. Well, I think it takes it a step further. You know, educate the parents along the way of what it takes to make these things happen. Why, when they get the clarinet for the first time, it sounds like it does. because, you know, those first couple notes are pretty rough on any instrument, but it's building that foundation and helping the parents understand what the kids are doing and help them, the parents, learn along with this. Same thing with administrators. You know, one suggestion we make all the time is to bring an administrator in to conduct your concert, to conduct a march in the concert, or have them come into your rehearsal. When the band goes to the football game on Friday night, take the administrator on the bus with you so they see what these kids are doing. One really quick story from when I was teaching at this school, we took the band the marching band on a trip to a bowl game. And we pull up for the parade at the bowl game, and it's almost like a spaceship landing, and these 4 coach buses and 2 trailers pull in, and every kid knew exactly what they're supposed to do. Those doors of the trailers came down, and every kid knew exactly where they were supposed to go, and it was this organized chaos. So to an outsider, they look at this and say, what is going on? And we had an administrator with us, and I was standing near him, and he says, they know what to do. Well, of course they know what to do, because we've done this so many times and they're so trained in this process. So we're not only teaching them to play the right notes, we're teaching them all of these other life skills that we know cannot be, you know, done on a bubble test, cannot be assessed on a bubble test. And that's part of the message we need to get out there too, of look at all of these other things that are happening. I mean, again, we're talking as basic as how are you working together in a group when 140 people show up. Look how well these students did coming in here today and knew exactly where to go and knew exactly what to do without anyone out here telling them as it was happening. So there's so many other things we're teaching. Those are the messages we need to get out there. Yes, it's great to see the performance, and yes, that's important, but we need to get the message of how it got there out.
And you know, I would take a, wonderfully said, Mark, I'd take it a step further to say, and doing that is on us. You know, I think that we have to be, you know, our role in the advocacy spectrum, what we're doing, is part of, I think, what we need to do. I think our field is growing into having a greater comfort level to do. We were in a city earlier this summer with a kind of a kickoff of the forum idea. And there was a wonderful superintendent there that he said that he went through 2.5 days of interviewing for this job to be the superintendent of the school district. And in that 2.5 days, he was not asked once about his opinions about the role of arts in schools. And you know what, I kind of went, you know, that's on us guys, you know? I mean, that comes back to us. Ron, that comes back to you, said we've got to be at the table. A search committee's being formed, the school boards are meeting together to be elected, or there's a debate on school board elections. Where are we to come forward and say, please make a statement about your role in the arts? It's very important. I'd like to just, you know, we've got a big panel and you've all really had wonderful things to say, but I'd like to go back and say, share us what in your view is this preemptive strike. You know, what is the one takeaway that maybe we could share from your experience that would really, if a recommendation you would make to any community out there? What are something that, you know, anyone sort of in a thoughtful way could organize very quickly to do something, or do something in the next week that would be sort of get this ball rolling in a community anywhere? Anyone want to jump in? I hope you understand my question. But you know, you've all sort of been on the border of it. I'm saying, what is a preemptive strike? What's a proactive act of advocacy?
I think it depends on where you are and what your role is. And I think that it depends on what's important in your community. It depends on what's important to your school district. It depends on what's important in terms of the arts and culture organizations. But I think that one of the things we've learned is to be very strategic. We can run around spinning our wheels and never get anywhere that's very productive. In Pennsylvania, administrators are required to continue their professional development just as teachers are. And so we were encouraged by our professional development chair of our committee to become a provider for professional development for administrators in our state. I understand we're the only arts organization that did become a provider, but now we've been doing that for 4 cohorts over a year and a half, and we have teams of administrators, superintendents sitting aside with their principals, sitting with their supervisors in the arts, and coming up with an action plan for what they want to have happen. That's what I mean by an example of it depends on where your school is, where your community is. That opportunity to become a provider was there for everybody in the state. We looked at it and said, based on our work with teachers and professional development, we think we want to take this on and provide professional development for administrators, and it's working. It's working. We've had one administrator who said, you know, when she was talking about why she was there, she said, I've tried everything else. We have never focused on the arts. We've worried about scores. We've done everything you can think of. I'm here to have these arts experiences, to learn about research in the arts and how it supports my students. And I'm going to go back and implement it at my school level. I want to see what happens. My associate director had a conversation with that principal a week ago and said, you won't believe how the school has changed. The culture has changed, built around the idea that they now value the arts. It's an interesting story.
You know, I can think of a couple of states that we're working with that are in the coalition. They're doing professional development for arts educators, and if a little bit of a shift to include the school policy, school leadership, as you have done, would be very, very powerful. That's a preemptive. Anyone else? Ron, I saw you make a note.
One of the key things about advocacy, always, successful advocacy, is relationship building. And ultimately, that's what this stuff is about, building relationships. So wherever you are, whatever position you hold, whatever the status of your music or art program might be in your particular school district or school or community, think about the relationship building. Relationship building with other teachers, relationship building with business community, relationship building with PTA, relationship building with your elected legislators, for instance, and other community leaders. That really provides a foundation for effective advocacy over the longer term. And then the other piece I would emphasize is accepting responsibility to do something. Not sitting back, again, as I said earlier, hoping that bad things don't happen, not sitting back hoping that somebody does something about this, but figuring out what you will do. Make a commitment to do it, partner with others, and that's the beginning of very effective advocacy.
Margaret, tell us.
Ron said everything I would have said because it goes back to the all politics are local. And our members call us up and say, help, you know, my program is on the cutting block. At that point, it's a little too late probably, but you have to start at the local level. There has to be unity within the music department. There has to be communication and relationships with parents and community supporters in order to save a program like that. And some of the successes that we've seen in Pennsylvania, certainly the Upper Darby School District for the last 2 years has had to fight to save their programs. And it's been the parents that have really saved those programs. It hasn't been our teachers. I mean, our teachers are supplying the information and, you know, doing outstanding jobs teaching, and the parents recognize that. So the parents are willing to fight. And I think you have to cultivate that. And we've had others. Philadelphia has had a success story I'm sure you'll hear about tomorrow. And there are others across the state. But we need, as an organization and as teachers in our local school districts, to make sure that the local school district, the music teachers are all on the same page. They have relationships with the parents of the students and with their school boards, and as Ron said, with their state legislators, because all of those people control the policy and what's going to happen.
So at the end of the day here, we're saying anyone at every level, school administrator, teacher, parent, student learning to be a music educator in college, everyone has to kind of take a piece of this. Yes. And in some way make kind of the mental and emotional commitment that this needs to be part of the message that we're carrying out there. High quality programs, high quality teachers, diversity, lots of opportunity. But if we're not at the table walking the talk and advocating, then we're not going to have the opportunity for all that good stuff to happen. Mark, would you sort of end us with your thoughts, and then we're going to bring back these wonderful student musicians?
Sure. I wanted to kind of pick up on something that Margaret said, that something that I remember, and I'm pretty sure that it came from Bob Morrison, who's on our steering committee as well. And Bob said, if your program is cut, you're too late to start advocating. And we need to really remember that in all we're doing. And advocacy is not always being at the table and pounding our fists. It is constantly promoting the positives, the relentlessly positive, and that's what we need to do. And things like the Arts Education Network, we're bringing these people together and having these positive conversations, and it's like, okay, let's all come together and now go forth and put this good word out about what's really happening here. And that's what needs to be happening. We need to be always putting out that positive word so that when cuts come, you know, if they do come, we already have put out the positive word and it's not a reactionary.
That a cut is not acceptable because of the ground that we've already laid.
Right.
Okay, please thank our panel. What a wonderful job they've done. Thank you. And I would like to particularly thank our co-hosts for this event and their great participation. Ron Cowell, the Education Policy and Leadership Center, who's a co-host, and Margaret Bauer, Pennsylvania Music Education Association, helping us in our conversation tomorrow also in Philadelphia. We'll have a community forum in Philadelphia. So that brings us to the end of this community forum here at Baldwin High School. We thank you so much for joining us on the web. We thank you all of us, those of you who joined us here, the stakeholder network of the leaders throughout Pennsylvania, that we hope this will inspire and support your work in your communities to keep music and arts education strong. And just as we started this event, we're going to end in a memorable way with the Baldwin High School drum line. Thanks all for being with us.